Hey, this is Graham and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys all about my automotive history. This is not what the video that I had planned for today, but yeah, I kind of messed myself up a little bit a couple of days ago, so I'm having to rework a little bit of my schedule. Hopefully I can still get in the video I want to do by Tuesday. Hopefully I can make it work. But anyways, so we'll get started. So I'm gonna start kind of like from what the very beginning, from what I remember of my in my life. I know about my parents' cars before I was born and all that, but I'm gonna start where I was born, or right before I was born, because there's one car that I want to mention that that I know matters, but isn't really a part of my life. And that was, so the very beginning where I'm going to start is my dad's CRX. He had a yellow CRX, like in the late 80s, early 90s, whenever it was. I guess it was the late 80s. He had a yellow CRX, and he talked so fondly of this car. It's the car that he had when my parents met. He said it was stick shift, didn't have AC, miserable in the summertime, but he said it was so much fun to drive. And the way he talks about this car and the way he tells stories about it, I just know that it's like, that's part of what fueled his love of cars, was that one. So I think that's important to mention before we really jump into it, because after that, my parents both had, when I was born, my parents both had matching Honda Accords. My mom's was gold, my dad's was blue, and they had color matched interiors. And it was that really awful cloth that was like kind of soft and just bad. Just that 90s interior material, you know what I'm talking about? So there was that. But then after those cars, my dad got a VW Passat. It was white with a tan interior. It was a nice car. I feel like I remember. I know that he liked it. But then after that, he got a 3 Series BMW, and my mom got a Nissan Murano. That had a really awful CVT automatic transmission, and you know, those are supposed to be smooth as butter and everything, but it was not. It was pretty bad. But my dad's BMW, it was a silver 3 Series, surprise, silver 3 Series, but it had a gray interior. It was a 328, I believe. And my dad still thinks that was one of his favorite cars. And I remember that car really well. I remember it being a lot of fun to ride around in. And my mom's Murano, it was silver with a black interior. And what I remember most fondly about that car was that my mom would just open the tailgate, and my dog Sugar, who you can see right up here, my dog Sugar would sit in the back of it, just like chilling in the driveway, and just like watch the world go by. It was the dog house, basically. So it was just full of dog hair all the time. But it was not a great car, but it holds fond memories, I think, for all of us, just because the dogs like to hang out in it. So that's definitely a nice thing to remember. So, and then moving back to my dad's cars, after the 3 Series, he got a 5 Series. It was a 535. That's the twin turbo inline 6. Basically a tuned down, well, I can't say M5 because at the time the M was not even remotely a 6-cylinder. It was the V10. But it was that era 5 Series, and that car moved. I mean, that's also the first car that I ever drove, which I shouldn't have driven, but I shouldn't have been driving it because I was not even close to of age to be driving. I was like 13 or something when I drove that car. But basically, my dad took me out in the country and let me get behind the wheel and just kind of drive slowly down the road. But that was really cool. I think that was it was fun to do that, and it's fun to be able to say that the first car that I ever drove was a 535 twin turbo BMW. So that car was beautiful, though. It was gray with a tan interior. That's definitely one of my favorite cars that my dad's owned. I like all the cars that he's owned in recent history, but that one was cool. It had some issues though, and BMW ended up buying it back from him. And from there, he bought a E350 Mercedes, and that was a sweet car. It was this gorgeous. I mean, I still love this color. It was this gorgeous kind of grayish brown metallic. I think it was called like indium gray or something, like indium gray or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a very pretty car. It's definitely a cool one. So, and about the same time, my parents, I was turning 16 at this point, and so what happened was my parents traded the Murano that my mom had for a Ford Focus, and that was kind of like a 16th birthday present kind of thing that my mom and I were going to share, which didn't work out great because I stole that car all the time and like drove it to school and stuff and didn't really share. Didn't share it very well, so I kind of feel bad for that. I kind of left my mom stuck at home all the time. But, I was 16. I just wanted to get out and be free and go drive around on my own and stuff. And, like, you don't want your parents taking you to school when you're 16. You're supposed to be driving yourself, right? I do feel bad for that, though, because totally stole it from my mom. But, yeah, so basically we needed a third car at this point. So about a year after the Focus, we ended up getting the Mustang for me. And that's really where I think with the Focus, I had a lot of fun going out for drives and stuff, but it was just not, it wasn't the same. So we got the Mustang, and that's really where my love for cars blossomed. I had always had it because my dad's a car guy. I grew up a car guy. I loved playing Need for Speed and all of that stuff. Playing with Hot Wheels when I was really little and everything. I've always been a car guy. I've always been into cars. But when I got the Mustang, that's really where everything kind of exploded, and that's where things really started, to develop for me. Because I would drive that car. I remember surprising one of my friends with it. Because I had been talking to him. I was like, I always wanted a Mustang, right? I've always wanted a Mustang for my whole life. It's always been my dream car, the blue Mustang. So when I got it, I was beyond stoked. I mean, even when I look at it now, I still smile, and it still just thrills me just to know that I have that car. It's my dream car. It really is. So I remember when I got that car, I surprised one of my friends with it. I was like, hey, meet me at the high school. And I drove over there and pulled in the Mustang. And he was like, just blown away. Because he never thought that and my girlfriend at the time too. I had been wanting one so bad for such a long time. But, none of them were like, you're not going to be able to get that car. You're never going to get that car. And then being able to like roll up in it and surprise everybody with it was just epic. It was so great. But so I would take that car out after school. I would take my car out, my Mustang out after school, and just drive it like endlessly forever and ever. Which is probably why it has 86,000 miles on it now. Because I don't care. I still don't care about miles. I think the more miles you drive, the better it is. But I would just rack up miles on that car, and it was just fantastic. I mean, I was free. I would just cruise around the countryside all day long or all afternoon, blasting AC/DC and just having a ball, which is totally what I still do sometimes. But that car was perfect. I mean, seriously perfect. It still is perfect, of course. But like that's where it all began. So, about a year goes by, and then my friend, my buddy Matt, tells me about this car meet that he and some of his buddies from the other high school are getting put together, and so of course I go, and that's inevitably where I ended up meeting Aaron, reconnecting with Ben, Trevor, and Colin, and all of those guys. I met everybody. That's where I like made all of the really close friends that I have today, was through the car meet and through cars. And without my Mustang, none of that would have ever happened. So it really was. That car is really important to me. And of course, I met Annika with that car too, because I went to a Mustang Club meeting and she was there with her car, and that's how we connected. So it's just that car's brought a lot of good into my life. It's brought YouTube. It's changed my YouTube channel. It's really brought some. I mean, it's shown me what I want to do with my life, and so when I started doing car video. My very first car video was my Mustang review of my own car quite a few years ago now, 3 years ago probably. 2 years ago, I don't remember exactly when it was. Maybe it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. My very first video was a review of my own Mustang. So, that's where I realized my very first automotive video was a review of my Mustang. So that's where I realized I wanted to make videos about cars. And then because of those videos, I ended up getting a job with Athens Ford, which I've kind of hinted at in some of my previous videos. But basically, because of my YouTube videos that I made on my channel, Jameson, a salesman at Athens Ford, got in contact with me and was like, "Hey, let's make some videos." So now I've got my own production company that I'm working on, and I'm making videos for those guys and working on growing my clients and everything. But like none of this would have happened if it weren't for that car. So especially all of you guys that are asking, when are you going to trade it for an 18? When are you going to swap it for a 5.0? Blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to swap that car. I'm not going to trade that car unless it just dies on me. If it just dies on me, then of course I'll have to, I don't know. I probably still would keep it and then just, I don't know. But that car's such a big part of my life now and such a big part of like who I am. And it's just, the car's, it's taking me around the world and everything. So that car's a huge part of my life. And has really, it's gotten me to where I am today. So it's very special to me. It's very important to me. It's definitely my most prized possession. Needless to say. So, I guess that's it, guys. That's from the beginning to where I am now. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this. This is a video I've been wanting to make for a little while. I thought it was a fun one. So I guess I'll see you guys all next time. As always, please like, subscribe, and of course, take it easy.